The 2025 Fellowship event is here, and with it comes the now classic Idletown minigame that you either love or hate. The good news is that plenty of rewards are available for many different ways of playing this event. The main event building is fairly standard, giving lots of population, army boosts for the guild battlegrounds, forge points, and fragments of the side buildings in this event. Those side buildings are the Ribbit Retreat and Nomad's Nook. Both of these can be ascended to give some very strong boosts and productions, especially for the quantum incursions. Both will also produce quite a few forge points. Now, in this event, you can choose to go for more grand prize progress or to spend some event currency on some rewards chests. Opening all of these chests will give you the sort of secondary main event building of the Raftway Harbour. This thing is pretty cool for a few reasons. It's got strong army boosts, produces fragments of a very powerful ascended upgrade for the Fiore Village, and even gives some finished special production item fragments too. It is also the first building since the Timeless Junction where you can place an ally of any rarity. The only major downside is that it will cost a hefty amount of population. The Raftway Harbour also happens to be part of this video's giveaway. This video was produced in collaboration with InnoGames, so we're giving away one Raftway Harbour selection kit. The link to enter is in the description, and it will close 2 weeks after this video goes live. Good luck! The last major new things are the upgrades for the Fiore Village from Forgeable events many moons ago. It's been given the Gold, Platinum, and Ascended upgrade treatment, and will now give a lot more army boosts and productions, including attack for defending armies in the Quantum Incursions at its lower tiers. The Ascended upgrade doubles many of the boosts and productions, as well as adding additional quantum actions per hour and an increase to your maximum quantum actions capacity by 4,000 actions. As I mentioned at the start of the video, the minigame is the Idletown minigame. I'm going to run through a quick overview, but feel free to skip ahead to the timestamp on screen if you've played this minigame before. The minigame works by having some buildings represented by these circle icons. Buildings on the right side of the minigame produce goods that go into this pile here, and you need to click them once the circle fills up to produce those goods. You can click the carriage at the bottom left to come and pick up these goods to bring them over to the left side of the screen, where you can then click the banquet to convert those goods into feast provisions. Feast provisions let you upgrade your buildings to produce, carry, or convert more goods per click, or to buy new buildings that produce even more goods. Don't worry about needing to click a lot though. You can use the event currency in this event, gemstones, to hire what are called overseers. They automate the clicking of the buildings so you don't have to do the work. As you play the minigame, you will complete tasks, which will give you progress towards the grand prizes. You won't want to complete all of these tasks, but I'll walk you through how you want to complete them later on in the video. Once you've collected enough feast provisions, the first town you play requires 1 million and then the rest require 8.4 quadrillion, you can choose to move on to the next town. This will bring you to a screen where you can open up some reward boxes using your gemstones, and then you can move on to the next town and start the whole process all over again. It does look and sound a lot more complicated than it really is though. The gameplay basically just consists of you buying the overseers, upgrading the buildings, and waiting around for enough feast provisions. This event also has some boosters that somewhat reduce that waiting. The Royal Seal of Advancement lets you upgrade an Overseer 1 level for free. These are a great way to save some gemstones on the most expensive Overseer upgrades, as well as making the mini-challenge much cheaper to complete. The King's Chronometer lets you jump ahead 2 hours in the minigame, giving you all the productions that you would normally get in that time. You can find it in the time skip menu. Similarly, these are useful to complete the mini-challenge much more cheaply, but are also great for accelerating your progress through the slower parts of the minigame. The last booster is the Monarch's Edict of Provisions, which will let you reduce the cost of feast provisions to move on to the next town by 50%, essentially from 8.4 quadrillion to only 4.2 quadrillion. It can help cut off those last hours a town takes at the cost of completing fewer tasks in that town. You'll start with one of each of the boosters and can get more from the mini-challenge. This minigame offers several places to get rewards, namely the grand prizes, end of town boxes, and the new inclusion of the event shop. For the grand prizes, one task completed in the minigame is 1 progress. Each town can net you just over 30 tasks with the recommended task lists in my event spreadsheet, depending on your strategy. The main event building will be completed at 400 progress, which requires about 13 towns to be completed. 425 progress will get you one of only 2 freely available platinum upgrades for the Fiore Village. The other one is from the Silver League if you really push a lot of towns. The Eternal Market will require 450 progress to achieve, or about 15 towns completed. Interestingly, you get the maximum of 1100 fragments at this point. There are no stretch fragments for it. The allies will be achievable before any of the previous buildings at 325 and 375 progress, respectively. As you complete towns to get more progress, you'll also be able to claim the reward boxes at the end of each town. The first reward box is free, then they get progressively more expensive until you open 6, at which point you get a selection kit for the Raftway Harbour, and the costs reset to be a little more expensive than before. You can also buy all the boxes at once for a discounted price of 1400 gemstones for the first set, which is what you want to do if you want the harbor. This is the only place to get the harbor other than the silver and gold leagues. On beta, 4 of the chests contained random amounts of sacred seals, the currency for the event shop, with the other 2 chests containing all the upgrades and selection kits for the Hero's Tavern and Whisperwood Watermill. However, the chests have been rebalanced a little bit in terms of the number of seals, and the Ascended Nomad's Nook and Ascended Ribbit Retreat have been added. Unfortunately, this means that I can't give too good of an estimate as to what the amount of seals you can get is, but allegedly it should be the same as before, which was an average of 57 seals per set of chests. The rewards at the top of the screen are guaranteed to appear in the chests, but the order you receive those rewards is entirely random. All the seals you win from the boxes can be spent in this event's shop. You can also get a few seals from completing tasks in the minigame. On average, it comes out to around 4 to 5 marks from the tasks per each town, which pales in comparison to the 57-ish you get on average from each set of chests. The shop has a ton of items available, a total of 64. Most notable are the Fiore Village selection kits. You will have to pick up at least 7 here to use the new upgrades if you don't have any in your inventory, since you get 1 from the leagues and 2 from the grand prizes. The Escutcheon Estate from last year's event also makes a return, but you will have to spend 177 seals to unlock it first, making it hard to get, and it's a similar story with the allies that are available from the shop as well. Basically, if you can think of an item that might be available in the shop, it is probably here. There are tons of old Fellowship event buildings, and even quite a few kits for main event buildings from 2024. Just about every Ascended upgrade you could think of makes an appearance, with varying costs. There are some conspicuous absences in the shop, however, including the Golden Upgrade Kit for Summerhold Manors, the Jester Stage, and the Feast and Fables Selection Kit, meaning if you wanted to play this event to get lots of Jester's Stages, it's probably not happening. If nothing takes your fancy in the shop, you can convert your seals directly to forge points and goods. The shop will last an extra day after the event ends. Do note that the first refresh is free, then 2 seals, and then the cost doubles from there. As there are some randomly applied discounts to items of either 25 or 50%, you can always try to use that free refresh to maybe get a discount on an item you want. Now let's get down to business and talk about strategies. The first option I have for you is to mainly focus on the grand prizes and get to the 450 progress mark where you get the main event building, allies, Eternal Market, and Fiore Village Platinum upgrade. 450 progress means you'll need to complete 15 towns, and that will leave you with enough gemstones to purchase the full set of end-of-town chests 3 times, giving you 1 level 2 Raftway Harbour. Unfortunately, that does mean your Fiore Village will not be ascended all the time, and that it would take somewhere between 250 to 420 days to get that first ascended kit. You could invest about 8,800 diamonds to get the additional Raftway kits needed to keep the Fiore Village fully ascended by opening the end-of-town chests in 10 different towns, but that's up to you. If you aren't going to spend diamonds, I'd recommend you only opening the full set of chests when you get at least 70 seals for the whole set, or when there are only 3 towns left to complete. You should be able to get around 280 seals total from the tasks and the chests with this method, meaning you can get quite a few items from the shop. Alternatively, if you want some of the higher upgrades for the Hero's Tavern and Whisperwood Watermill, or the Ascended Ribbit Retreat or Nomad's Nook, you could open the full set when those appear. For the second strategy, if you would rather give up the main event building, allies, Eternal Market fragments, and Fiore Village upgrades, you can choose to go for a more relaxed strategy where you focus on opening the end-of-town chests. You've got enough gemstones to complete 8 to 9 towns with only level 1 overseers. These towns will take quite a lot longer and have quite a bit of downtime where you can just let them run. The benefit is that you're able to then open the full set of chests at the end of each of those 8 or 9 towns. This gives you 4 level 2 Raftway Harbours and at least 450 seals to spend in the shop, which can buy quite a lot of good stuff. The last strategy is to just go all in on completing as many towns as possible to push for a higher league. You've got enough gemstones to complete somewhere around 21 towns, maybe more if you're smart with your boosters. That should be enough to secure Silver League for free, but Gold League could still very well cost diamonds. 21 towns is quite the time investment though, so be certain that this is the strategy you want to play if you go for it. Other than the leagues, you really don't get much more over doing 15 towns, and you do miss out on the possibility of opening the end of town chests. I'd recommend around 95 seals for this strategy. Of course, none of these strategies or anything earlier in the video answer how to actually play the towns themselves. Instead, I've got a spreadsheet for that. All you have to do is pick the town you are currently on and follow the to-do list. So for town 1, just do what it says and then check the box off. It's really that easy and covers when to level each building and overseer. If you're planning to get the main event building, Eternal Market, or anything else progress-based, you want to select the town 1, town 2, and town 3 task lists sequentially. If you don't know what town you're on, enter your current tasks into the aptly named tool and it will tell you. There are 3 variations on the tasks for each town, so the first town and the fourth town get the same task lists, and so on. For the very first tutorial town of the event though, I'd recommend choosing the aptly named first town task list. It is built to get you through it as fast as possible, since you only need 1 million feast provisions to complete it. Then choose the town 2 task list and go from there. In short, if you're going for progress, the tasks list you choose will look something like this. First town, town 2, town 3, town 1, and so on. If you're instead going for opening lots of end of town chests via the slower towns, choose the slow town task list. You don't really complete as many tasks, so it's just a to-do list of steps to take to complete the town as efficiently as you can with low-level overseers. The one thing I need you to do when you open the spreadsheet from the link in the description is to click the big blue button at the top right that says Use Template to make your own copy of the spreadsheet so that you can edit and interact with it. That's the big Use Template button. Then once you're in the spreadsheet, to allow images to show up, click Allow on the banner that shows up at the top. You may need to do this in a web browser on mobile. Then you're all set to use the spreadsheet and hit the ground running in this event. In case you don't want to use the awesome interactive spreadsheet, that's fine. You can find the various task lists on my website at ubernerd14.com/event/fel25, along with other useful things like the charts I've used in this video and the task lists for FOE Helper if I remember to find them. In both the spreadsheet and on my website, I'll also be including links to the quests of this event's mini-challenge. There is only one mini-challenge in this event, but like the fall event, it'll be a series of 19 quests across 19 days of the event, with each quest unlocking sequentially with each day. Only the first quest will be available at the start of the mini-challenge, where you then have to wait for the next day for the second to unlock, and so on. You can find the quest line on my website, ubernerd14.com/mini/fel25, or on the FanWiki page for this event. Again, both links are in the description and the spreadsheet that I've created for this event. The mini-challenge will be giving only boosters in this event, a total of 15 each of the seals and chronometers with 10 edicts. However, due to the quests in this event requiring you to spend many boosters, you will likely not be able to complete this one entirely for free. Also, quite unfortunately, I don't know how the boosters are distributed in the quest line since it changed from beta, so I can't really give advice as to the best stopping point or the best way to use your boosters to complete it. The good news is that it largely doesn't matter since those boosters are only useful if you're pursuing many towns. For the strategy where you're just going after the end of town chests, this mini challenge can largely just be ignored since the boosters won't help much. With the 15 town strategy where you're focused on progress, you can complete the mini challenge. The largest benefit here is that you can save some gemstones by using the seals of advancement on expensive overseers, especially the fireworks overseer, which will give you more to put into the end of town chests. However, you actually don't really need the other boosters since those are more focused on time. It's really up to you whether or not you want to complete the mini challenge here. The only strategy where you really need to complete the whole thing is if you're going for the silver or gold league. The boosters will make a huge difference as you'd want to be pushing through as many towns as quickly as possible. If you're planning to put some diamonds or money into this event, this is one where you want to spread out your spending. Instead of rushing one town with a bunch of time skips, upgrade your overseers a little bit more in multiple towns. For example, upgrading your banquet and carriage to level 4 overseers costs an extra 300 gemstones per town, or you could use your boosters to do so, and that will save 3 to 4 hours for each town. When in comparison, a 4-hour time skip costs 700 gemstones. If you try to rush everything at the end for Gold League, it will be extremely expensive. Now, one comparatively cheap option for spending is on the end of town chests. Especially if you're going for lots of towns, buying a whole set after a town costs about 1,200 diamonds worth of gemstones, and you get those raftways which give the elusive fragments of the Fiore Village's Ascended upgrade. You would also get many seals for the event shop, and to get the most out of those, you will also want to make sure that you spread out how you spend them. If you are buying many of a specific item, the refresh cost can rapidly get pretty large. I think that just about wraps it up for what you need to know for this event. Don't forget to check out all the resources linked in the description and to enter the giveaway. Join my Discord server to discuss the event and strategies. Please just make a copy of the spreadsheet instead of sending me an access request. And as always, I'll see you all next time.